Coronavirus caseload in the country has been rapidly increasing, with over 8,000 positive cases reported yesterday. Amid turbulent national politics, the three tiers of government had failed to keep the health system awake to deal with the crisis. However, now with Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's reappointment to the post, we can hope that the state can begin addressing the grave issues facing the country. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the top stories of the hour. Nepal reports over 8,000 coronavirus cases and 203 deaths in the past 24 hours. The public compelled to line up at oxygen factories amid acute shortages. Private hospitals say it is impossible to operate new oxygen plant within 15 days. Violent clashes between Israeli troops and Palestinians spread across the West Bank. At least 10 Palestinians reported dead, hundreds injured. And Kathmandu Raisers FC and Thangadi FC to clash at the finals of the Nepal Super League. Match to kick off at 5:30 this evening. Nepal has reported 203 COVID-19 deaths in the past 24 hours, taking the national tally to 4,669. The country also reported 8,467 COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours. According to Health Ministry, 20,948 samples were tested through the PCR method. There are 107,336 active cases as of the ministry's latest update, while 516 individuals are in various quarantine centers across the country. Kathmandu Valley alone reported a total of 3,349 cases. 6,135 individuals have registered full recovery, taking the recovery tally to over 327,000. The recovery rate has, however, dropped to 74.5%. The Health Ministry informed that there are 1,334 individuals in intensive care units, while 371 are on ventilator support. The country is reeling under the acute shortage of oxygen supply amid rising number of coronavirus cases. In many cases, patients have lost their lives due to shortages of the life-saving gas. Even as industries are producing the gas round the clock, they have failed to meet the rising demand.
People were seen lining up in front of oxygen manufacturing industries to fill empty cylinders with oxygen required for their family members and relatives. However, many reached the industries without hospital prescription, which is required to obtain the oxygen cylinders. According to oxygen manufacturing industries, people directly come to them, pay for the oxygen cylinders, and take them home to fulfill their regular need of the life-saving gas. Even local level representatives were seen in the industry premises to arrange oxygen cylinders for isolation centers to save their voters' lives. At a time when people were taking oxygen cylinders home, vehicles belonging to hospitals were seen waiting for the life-saving gas. Police have been mobilized to maintain the record of oxygen supplied by the industries. However, similar scenario has become common in recent days in most of the industries that produce oxygen. These days, the demand of oxygen is at its peak. However, the state mechanism has failed to provide the life-saving gas to around 8,000 patients who are currently admitted at different hospitals in the country due to the lack of effective monitoring. Experts opine the government is shying away from its responsibility and issuing directives instead at a time when there is no proper authority to manage the current supply of oxygen.
Now, the government on Wednesday directed hospitals to install oxygen plants within 15 days after the country witnessed an unprecedented number of COVID-19 deaths due to lack of oxygen. However, hospital management have said it is not possible for them to install the plants within the said period of time and accuse the government of shying away from its responsibility instead of looking for solutions. The Health Ministry directed hospitals with more than 100 beds to install oxygen plants within 15 days. However, the hospitals have said it is not that easy for them to implement the directive, as necessary materials required to install the plant have to be imported, which they say is a very lengthy process. Private hospitals took the government decision as an attempt to shy away from its responsibility. They urged the government to manage the regular supply of oxygen, saying that they need at least 2 to 3 months to install the plants. However, the Health Ministry says it has directed the private sector to install oxygen plants as the government process is lengthy. The ministry reiterated that health guidelines had provisioned each hospital with more than 100-bed capacity should have an oxygen plant and informed that the government gave 15-day deadline due to acute shortage of supply seen in recent time. The Health Ministry said that the government had already decided to exempt custom duty on materials needed to install oxygen plants to resolve the problem of the shortage and to encourage the private sector. 14 private hospitals have their own oxygen plants, while the rest are dependent on oxygen industries. Experts opine the government shying away from its responsibility by just issuing a directive, and the private hospitals saying that the directive cannot be implemented will not provide any solution to the current crisis. President Vidya Devi Bhandari administered the oath of office and secrecy to reappointed Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli yesterday. The President administered the oath of office and secrecy to the reappointed Premier in the capacity of parliamentary party leader of the largest party. This is the third time Premier Oli has been appointed to the post. Earlier, he was appointed to the post in 2015 and 2018. A new cabinet has also been formed. However, Premier Oli has given continuation to the previous members. Deputy Prime Minister and ministers of the cabinet took their oath of office and secrecy yesterday itself. Premier Oli has also maintained the portfolio of the ministers. The CPN-UML chairman had been reappointed as the Prime Minister in accordance to Article 76 after opposition parties failed to form a majority coalition government. Premier Oli will now need to take another vote of confidence at the House of Representatives within 30 days. CPN-UML chairman and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has now agreed to revive the ruling party to its former state. Speaking at a party meeting held at the Prime Minister's office in Singhadarwari yesterday evening, sources said Chairman Oli agreed to revive the party to what it was before its unification with CPN Maoist. A participating leader said to the media that the Premier had agreed to form a task force to revive the party's former state and to seek solutions for current disagreements. Likewise, the leader also informed Chairman Oli and Senior Leader Madhav Kumar Nepal have agreed to select the members of the task force. The task force will be responsible for making decisions on leaders who join the party from CPN Maoist Centre and on CPN-UML's organizational structure and leadership. The dissident faction led by Senior Leader Nepal has been demanding the party maintain its structure, statute and leadership prior to the unification with CPN Maoist. In our Public Voice segment, we've asked locals in Palpa and Morang what should be the priority of the government now. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
ठाउँ-ठाउँमा कोरोना हस्पिटलको व्यवस्था गर्ने बेडहरूको कमी भइरहेछ त्यहाँ बेडहरू चाहिँ बढाउनु पर्यो हैन अक्सिजनहरूको कमी भइरहेछ अक्सिजन चाहिँ उपलब्ध गराउनु पर्यो मास्क र सेनिटाइजरहरूको ठाउँ-ठाउँमा उपलब्ध भइरहेछ छैन कालो बजारी भइरहेछ
सरकार जुन परिवर्तन भएर आइसकेको छ यसले चाहिँ जनतालाई औषधि उपचार र अलिकति अक्सिजनको चाहिँ मात्रा चाहिँ छिटो पर्याप्त सहज गराओस्
आईसीयू भेन्टिलेटर बेड अनि सबै यो तयारी होस्
पीसीआर को टेस्ट बढाउनु पर्यो कोभिड को कन्ट्याक्ट ट्रेसिङ फेरि पहिला जस्तै गर्नु पर्यो आइसोलेसनहरु बनाउनु पर्यो
अक्सिजन र यो भेन्टिलेटर चाहिँ तपाईले तयार पार्दिनु भयो भने यो जनताहरुले यस्तो शास्ति भोग्नु पर्दैन
मास्कहरुको दाम कम गर्नु पर्यो सेनिटाइजरको दाम कम गर्नु पर्यो ताकि सबैले यो प्रयोग गर्न पाओस्
औषधि व्यवसायीहरुको चाहिँ उचित मूल्य तोकियोस् मन परि चलिरहेछ यहाँ अब औषधि पसल पछि
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, why has the country not received foreign aid in its bid to contain the coronavirus pandemic? Your options are A, lack of government initiatives, B, inactive ambassadors, and C, disinterest of donors. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for the sports news. Kathmandu Raisers FC and Thangadi FC go head-on in the finals of Nepal Super League at the capital's Dasrat Stadium today at 5:30 p.m. In the pre-match conference, both the teams expressed confidence in lifting the title. This is the third time Kathmandu Raisers and Dhangari are locking horns in the ongoing Nepal Super League. Dhangari registered wins in the two prior meetings with Kathmandu. Dhangari reached the finals, defeating Kathmandu Raisers 2-1 in the qualifier match. Dhangari team says they have benefited from the 3-day rest before the finals and all their regular players are fit to play in the title decider today. Meanwhile, Kathmandu Raisers are looking to avenge their 2 losses. Kathmandu coach Bal Gopal Maharjan and skipper Bikesh Kuthu said that the team would correct its prior mistakes and would try to defeat Dhangari in the final. The Nepal Super League trophy was also revealed yesterday. The winning team will bag a cash prize of 3.5 million rupees, while the runner-up team will have to settle for 1.5 million rupees. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.